two questions actually, if we could. One is, how did that connection happen? I love the idea that he was mistaken by the Spanish cop for a Nazi. He was actually Jewish. But just that, because he's a legend, I love him. But the other thing is, well, just to thank you, but you always had this fascination with the machinery of historic productions. What I love was I looked at the SF tapes and the telegram machines and the projection, projectors and so on. I imagine some of that would be hard to get all of years and everything about that sort of stuff to assess and stuff.
I love to look here and when I was a child, I basically has a strong Jewish community. And I was introduced to this, at the time, it was an old gentleman who was originally, I think, from Romania. And he was a tailor. I always remember that fact. And then I also believe that, the people from the far right, they seem to get things confused. They get the facts wrong in a very kind of tragic and funny way sometimes. And I really like the idea that Euclid's thinks that Hans is some kind of a German soldier with many stories to tell. And he has all the stories in his body as time stamps. It's a very strange scene. I saw it today and I was like, this is such a squeeze. I really like it. And I love the old technology. I think it's also a time stamp for a narrative. Telegram and all those machines. The cinema actually still has 35 millimeters projection, but they only have one projector. So we had a perfect mock-up, which is nothing, it's just a good-looking mock-up of the real projector for the second projector. Two projectors. So those kinds of details that making the film becomes almost like a game, because there you go and get details. And I remember a lot of stuff because I was 9 in 77, so it's probably the first year I actually remember.
We have a question right in the front row.
Hi, thank you for that wonderful picture, sir. I was just wondering, you just said that traveling in the past for this month helped you understand yourself now. How so?
Well, I think each film, if you give everything you have to make a film, you will understand a little bit about yourself. When you go back in time, you remember so many stories of my uncles, so it's really like you scroll back into time, and you begin to understand more about so many things, about friendship, family. So the film is it's full of intrigue and mystery, and love and violence. As the one who wrote it, it really feels very personal.
Thank you for again for amazing film you can. It's great to see you receiving more global acclaim, obviously. We've done in Sydney. Obviously, we've in Sydney, we've seen a lot of your work, and it's good you're getting the global acclaim you deserve. What I wanted to ask was, obviously, with the success that the Oscars have passed here, which is very much based on the intention of preserving the 70s into the 80s. This seems that the dictatorship is more of a backdrop to several other things to explore the stories that you want to tell. But what I was wondering specifically was, how difficult
neon signs and things like that. But it's a beautiful thing to find the city from the past in the modern city. Because it was, like so many cities in the world, all Latin America, undergoes quite a lot of demolition. But it's still a historic city. So if you find the right setup for the camera, it will work. And I'm happy with the way the city is shot. And I'm very curious to see the reaction of local audiences watching. The film only opens in Brazil in November, so you saw the film 3 months before anybody else see it.
Olá, obrigado pelo filme, bonito, muito lindo. Minha pergunta é, eu não estava vivo nos anos 70 e nem sou de Recife. Havia.
I can give you a brief translation.
So my question is, how do you find the truth, because it feels so intimate, it feels so true, how do you find this honesty, not only in directing, but on the writing as well, and with all the acting, how do you find this authenticity, because it feels very true, it feels very real and intimate.
First of all, you see truth in film, which is we seem to be in agreement, but somebody else might disagree. And it's just a fabrication of some kind. But I know the way people talk, and I recognize words. In fact, what are words? Oh, okay. I remember things. I remember words which are not really used anymore. They were very much part of everyday life, and it probably happens in English also. But in Brazil, so many words have been retired and I brought back quite a number of them. And they were quite harsh in terms of the usage. But we just find that great people who are the actors, if you find great actors who happen to be great people, it goes together. I think the truth comes from understanding what the dramatic situations are on the written page. And also, you should be ready to leave, abandon what's written, and try something else. But it's very hard to answer that question. But luckily that you find the truth.
Hi. So my question is, now you just said that understands Brazil. When you say that, the opposite of that, like, is there anyone that doesn't understand Brazil? Even yes, I know it's rhetoric, but yeah, you have to. But is there anyone that doesn't understand Brazil outside of your audience that you can reach with your film?
I'm not sure I had an audience, and this film was not designed to cater to one specific audience. I think it should be seen by anyone, everyone. I think the story is quite clear, and the tension that exists in the story is universal, but at the same time it represents a very strong Brazilian logic. It often has the logic of the United States. When I see a French film, it often has the logic of French. disagree that he should be killed. Maybe somebody can say that. The story is quite clear. So, just to make it clear to answer your question, I never thought this film was designed for any specific audience. I think anyone can watch the film, enjoy it, dislike it, react to it.
Explain the link, particularly the park scenes.
Yes. Well, I'm really into urban legends. I've done 2 or 3 short films on urban legends, and each city has its own urban fairy tale. I know that Sydney has, I'm sure Sydney must have an urban legend. And the Harry Lake was developed as a character in 1970s Pacific journalism, because the journalists, they were not allowed to say what happened precisely last night when people in the park, making out having sex, usually from the gate, and today were beaten up by the police. And instead of saying the police did this or the army did this, they came up with this interesting variation, the Harry did this. And that was, it's like the character says in the film, it caught fire, it became a sensation. So the Harry I grew up, in fact the scene with Teresa Victoria when she reads the newspaper, my mother read me the story she was reading in the newspaper out loud. And she said, but this is so odd, because it's not in a literary, the Sunday edition with the poems and the short stories. It's actually the police page. This is a piece of news, but it's about which actually comes sticking in the dark and sends people to hospital. So for many years I wanted to use that in the film, and finally we found the film for the heroine. And it's, it's fairly sick.
Kleber, you've done it again. First of all, thank you to this evening as well, because of the support on behalf of the Latin community. And he's been amazing. So many great movies for the last 12 years. Last time we viewed Back Down, which was very confronting, straight shots, very in your face. I don't know someone that's from Brazil, from Paraíba. I know how it is to be proud of, to be from the north and survive the drought and the hardship. And this movie is kind of very poetic. It's kind of a love story to Brazil and to Recife as well. You see to the soundtrack that was listening to was coming here, and the lighting, and I'm sure who was with you here a few years ago, when we showed his director, and must be a joy to work with him, I imagine. And it's hard not to talk about politics right now, because your movies are very political as well, and you are as a person. As an immigrant living in Sydney, you have a great support from the Sydney community. It's so happy. So proud. Sorry, I'm sorry, because we need to praise him. How do you see the Brazilian movie industry moving forward after the success and after what's happening in the world? We had so much going on, and your movie just stand out from anywhere, and you all times that everyone loves you. So
United States is a different situation. But